Yes. A bee? No, it can't. It's not, the sting is not strong enough. Yep. Yep. Just watch it doesn't sting you. Yep. Don't be such a wimp. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. So happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities on a continuous basis from multiple sources. I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. Woo! I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. So happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. So happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. What's up, folks? What up, what up, what up, what up, folks? Mr. Msa, Ukhandet, Mr. Ngibi, how's the lockdown? I've even lost count of the days. I was thinking that today is still, what, day 7? Apparently it's day 8. Yeah, it is what it is. And I was thinking that they're going to extend the lockdown. But the way they're relaxing, it's day 8 today, boy. But the way they are relaxing, you know, things out there, I suspect that they might not extend the lockdown. Not a meditation, but an affirmation, Mr. Mapisa. Yeah, that's my money affirmation. Hey, Mr. Justice, how are you doing, sir? How are you doing, sir? Yeah. Imagine, hey? Can you imagine if we could all, you know, say that at one go? That would be magical. There's something people do not understand about. There's something called the collective psyche of a people, of a grouping, of a nation. The collective psyche of a grouping, of a nation, of a people. That is very powerful. It breaks all forms of rhythmic hypnotism. And yeah, we'll talk about that one day. So, now, that's my money affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. What you doing, nigga?
I'm staying here.
Why?
I want to.
Okay. So, yeah. Yabona inhloko enjani?
What's my hair?
Nothing.
What's wrong?
Nothing, boy.
What's that?
No. These are my business partners. You're gonna fall.
I'm not gonna fall. I just see us.
There's people. Can you see there?
That's not people. That's just Texans.
Yeah?
Why are they selling? Why are they saying hello?
Because they're talking to me. Back off.
No.
Back off a bit, man.
Okay.
So yeah, guys, just before every meeting begins, that should, yeah, man, that's very, very powerful. That is very, very powerful. We should actually look into that. In fact, we should do it. So, and I think other things we should really talk about it is what is called a rhythmic hypnotism. Okay. Sometimes you find yourself fighting a battle that you can never win, or that will be very, very difficult for you to win because of what is called rhythmic hypnotism. Okay. So, but we're not there today. So, now, most of you know that I'm crazy about crypto. I'm crazy about real estate. You know, those are my favorite asset classes right now. Not too crazy about gold. Not too crazy about, but it's something, but not too crazy about it. But now this is what I want to talk about. Now, if you look at investing, probably, let's say in the stock market, right? You invest in the stock market, you buy shares and stuff like that. What can you do? Mr. Neo understands exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about rhythmic hypnotism. That one is very, 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 very painful because we see things happening and we don't know why they're happening. We see people, the chigelas and downing, and we don't know why. It's actually because that's one of the things. There's also one that I want to talk about, but I just forget now the name, which is also very important. It actually deals with what I was saying, the collective psyche of a people and of a nation. So yeah, that's very, very important. Thoughts are things. Thoughts become things, and thoughts, are very, very powerful things. Now, that's also very important to understand because if you can have 2 or 3 or more people forming a mastermind group and they begin to align their thoughts, we'll probably have another talk, maybe another day regarding that. But this is what I wanted to talk about today. One, I wish we could all, I know we do to a certain degree, but whatever level we are doing it, I wish we could, up it up a notch. I'm looking at what is happening around the world. I'm looking at what is happening in Europe. I'm looking at what's happening in Asia. I'm looking at what's happening in America. Right now, the hotspots for development and investments and human evolution for many years, it was Europe, and then it went to America, and then it went to Asia. Countries like Japan, China. China is basically right now right at the ceiling. Hence, they are starting businesses, outside of the country. So now the development wave is today. The development is in South America. South America, and the development is also in some parts of Asia. Thailand is already over, developed countries like Singapore and stuff like that. But if you look at countries like Vietnam and Cambodia, that's where the development is currently happening. But now, do you know where is the next frontier of growth? Everyone knows this. Every single person knows this. And the next frontier of growth is going to be Africa, naturally, because there is no other place. And if you think Africa, we have discovered all that there is to discover in terms of the minerals and stuff like that, actually that is not true. There's so much mineral wealth that is being, that is still hidden underneath the ground. But over and above that, the most valuable minerals that can ever be harvested is what is actually in the minds of the African child right now. It's what is in here. I wish that all of us, we can have a dream, and a dream of wanting to develop Africa, of wanting to do our bit, to take this continent, to its glory. I wish we can have that dream, Maybe you're thinking, but we're in network marketing, what can we do? We can inspire development, we can create wealth in our business, but we can invest in other, in other instruments, in other assets, in other developments. There's just so much that can happen. Africa right now, the major part of income, for most countries is actually tourism. We could, if you look at Dubai right now, a major part of their income is tourism. If you look at countries like, I think the name is Baku. A lot of people don't know about it yet. It's basically competing with, it will compete with the likes of Dubai. It's still under development. But countries like Qatar, those countries are, very, very intensive on their strategy for tourism. Now, Africa has got a lot to offer, but we're not playing in that space at this moment. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is that, let's have a vision. Let's have a vision, whether collective, whether individual, but let's have a vision to actually, grow Africa, to grow Africa. And, and create something out of this continent, and leave a mark that can never be erased. Now, coming back to, the asset classes that one, can invest in and stuff like that. I was saying, if you buy stock, by stock I meaning shares. If you buy shares in any company listed on the JSE or listed in the New York Stock Exchange, whatever the case, if you buy shares there is nothing you can do as a retail investor, to influence the value of that stock to actually rise. Okay? There's a guy who got involved in gold. His name is Mike Maloney. Back in 2002. This guy was running a traditional business up until he realized what's happening within the banking sector, the fraud, the corruption, the theft, and that is rife there. And what this guy did was he simply started, to invest in gold, and he wrote a book to educate people about gold. This guy has traveled throughout the country, educating people about gold, about quantitative easing, how money actually works. And guess what has happened? From there up until right now, the price of gold has risen. So did this guy probably have anything to do with it? Maybe to a small degree, yes. But I want to believe that yes, because he then conscientized thousands of people around the world to invest in gold. Okay? Now, let's come back to where we are right now. Roger Ver, in the year 2011, when he started investing into Bitcoin, this guy bought literally hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins. And from there, he had nothing to be joined, okay? He was just simply purely educating people, just like this guy, Mike Maloney. So Roger Ver spent a lot of money on advertising, radio, ads, putting billboards, in the busiest places in Silicon Valley, talking, about Bitcoin, creating awareness about Bitcoin and just getting word out there. And on top of that, You know, so as more and more people started learning about Bitcoin, interacting with Bitcoin, this guy literally gave out, you know, hundreds of Bitcoin. I'm talking full Bitcoins, you know, to people, just random people, just to, you know, to conscientize and to make them aware about Bitcoin. And guess what happened? When the value of Bitcoin grew, you know, because this guy is holding such, a large sums of Bitcoin, the value of his estate actually grew. Okay, now we've got a golden opportunity right now with Bitcoin Vault to do exactly the same. But now, instead of one Roger Ver, there's about 250,000 Roger Ver all over the country who are in Mining City, who are involved in Bitcoin Vault. Okay, so this is one investment where you can invest in and basically go all out there to create awareness, to educate people about, and as more and more people actually get involved, what's happening to your wealth is basically growing. Okay, now this is unique to cryptocurrencies, right? You hardly find any other investment class where that is possible. It's not possible in property, you know. The only thing you can do, you can increase maybe the intrinsic value by, painting it, fixing it, but that's it, You cannot influence the market, There's just no way for you to influence the market sentiments regarding your particular property. But you can do that when it comes to cryptocurrencies, okay? So I want us to take heart in whatever that you're doing and believe that, I was listening to Robert Kiyosaki right now. He is probably he's probably the only one of all the guys who are talking about financial awareness and all that, who basically marries, wealth creation with his purpose, What is it that he wants, that God wants done, okay? And I like the way he puts it. He says, when I got a light bulb moment and I realized what is happening, he says he was with Buckminster Fuller. You want to look up that name. There's quite a lot of stuff. So he then says, he was with this guy, and then this guy, then as they were discussing what is happening, what they call the grunge, which is the gross, talking about all these big guys who are using the financial system, who are using the way we work, to basically packing kunzi the entire world, okay? That's what they're doing, packing kunzi the entire world, And the worst part is that the entire world is actually blind to what is happening, We think it's just happening because it's happening, whereas there's actually people who are behind the whole thing. So this guy then says then Robert Kiyosaki says, he says that for him, he finds this as what would God want done in a situation like that? What would God want done? Of course, make people aware, educate people how they can survive, how they can escape, everything that is happening within the matrix, And so this guy then says, that's his purpose, he's actually doing God's work. Yes, he's making money, through that, but he doesn't have to do that for him to make money. He can still make money regardless, but he's still doing that. So now we have a golden opportunity right now, even an obligation to that matter, to basically educate people on what is happening out there. A lot of people do not understand. So I wish when we educate people, that the joining part becomes the last thing we're talking about, okay? But the first thing that is basically on our minds is how to educate people about what is happening and cryptocurrencies, and how they are basically a must-have in this time and age. If we can do that, I think we would actually get a lot more done. Okay, if we could just, boy, it's wet. It rained the other day. Look at the ground; it's wet. There's no need for that. Yeah, it's wet. Maybe next week, Sure, you can switch off the tap now. So if we can do that, basically driving why Now, this then demands a little bit more of us, It then demands, instead of you knowing what Bitcoin Vault has done in performance over the last 3 months, but understand the fundamentals. What is it about, Understand the fundamentals of cryptocurrencies. Understand why Bitcoin exists, Understand the ideology behind Bitcoin and all of that. So this then requires a little bit out of us. But I promise you, if we go that extra mile in educating ourselves, if we go that extra mile in making sure that we are informed about what is happening and we are well versed in what is happening, it's actually going to make our job much easier in getting the world to wake up, and realize what is happening. Otherwise, that's all I wanted to say, guys. That we need to wake up the world. People are sleeping. People are sleeping and things are happening right before our very eyes. The greatest wealth transfer is taking place right now. People are not aware, America is printing money like it's going out of fashion. But where is that money going to, What does that mean for the ordinary folks on the street? Okay? So let's educate ourselves on those things so that we're able to communicate that. So we've got a golden opportunity, guys. Let's make it work. Let's make it work. Cheers.